Hey everyone, and welcome back to MMA Alerts. Today, let's start with the fact that Khamzat Chimaev will lose to Robert Whittaker. The UFC will be in Saudi Arabia for the first time on June 22nd. The main event will be a fight between former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker and longtime rival Khamzat Chimaev. There was a lot of disagreement among MMA fans before the fight about who they thought would win. Chimaev was the slight choice to win, while Whittaker was the underdog. Even so, Sean Strickland's coach Eric Nixick recently talked about why he thinks the Reaper will win on Submission Radio. Nixick said that he knows how scary Chimaev is because he has worked out with him before. The stakes couldn't be higher for the important middleweight fight coming up later this month, since both fighters want to be in the running for the 185-pound title. Let's look at Islam Makhachev gets a warning for his fight at UFC 302. Once again, Dustin Poirier will be fighting Islam Makhachev at UFC 302. He wants to win UFC gold. Poirier, who is 35 years old, is also up against the curse of fighters 35 or Spartacan or older in title matches at 155 pounds or less. Many people think that on June 1st, Poirier has a meeting with fate. On a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welsh talked with Jorge Masvidal, the original BMF, about the UFC 302 fight. Masvidal and O'Malley both think the Diamond will do the job, even though the odds are against it. It was said by Masvidal that he knows the fight will be hard for his longtime friend. He is sure that the past interim champion will win. The day before the fight, Poirier also talked to ESPN about how everything seems to be coming together for UFC 302. With only a few days to go until fight night, only time will tell if Poirier will finally win the gold belt. Now let's look at Walking Buckley gets mad at Cub Swanson all over again. In the weeks since his call-out of Conor McGregor at UFC Fight Night Saint, Lewis Walking Buckley has kept arguing with different MMA fans. The insult did amuse Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier, who called it the worst thing he could remember. On the other hand, longtime MMA veteran Cub Swanson couldn't understand a recent post Buckley made on social media in which he said that he would beat MMA legend George Saint Pierre if they fought in their primes. After a long fight on social media, Namanza hit back at Swanson again in a video. I don't think George would be messing with me right now if we were at this point in my work. Lots of you have said things like, man, George would do that to you, or oh man, George would do that to you, or oh man, George would do that to you. That's fine, you can say what you think. But Cub, you were not like the others, bro. You had a strong will. As it turned out, bro, you were in the same weight class as BJP. If you thought you could beat them, I wouldn't be mad at you because you were a fighter. What you should say and how you should think are the same. So when you say better man than try, it sounds like you're really trying to be cool. Say it out loud. Is it true that you don't believe me when I say I am good, as I say I am? You're welcome to think that way, Cub, but what have you done with your life?
What?
You've been in the business for 15 years and have never touched the title, reporter for a long time. Also, they checked Buckley's claim that Swanson had never been in the UFC ranks and wrote that Buckley says he doesn't think Cub Swanson has ever been in the UFC rankings. When the UFC rankings began in February 2013, Swanson was named #1. He stayed that way for 6 years, until May 2019. Others also said that Swanson was almost a title shot before he was booked to fight Frankie Edgar in the title eliminator. This means that Buckley might want to review his MMA pass before his next round of verbal sparring with Cub Swanson. Now let's look at Paulo Costa gets a message from Sean Strickland. At UFC 302, lightweight champion Islam Makhachev will be fighting Dustin Poirier to protect his title. However, Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa's fight as the co-main event is sure to be exciting. There was some worry that the fight might not happen because Costa was said to not have signed a deal, but it looks like everything is set for Saturday. Strickland talked about how he thinks things will go in a recent UFC 302 countdown show. Fight night is coming up soon, ahead of the event, which is set to happen in New Jersey. Someone saw Costa throw out the first pitch for the New York Mets at Citi Field. He has already arrived. On DraftKings Sportsbook, Strickland is currently the favorite to win with odds of -225, while Costa is the outsider with odds of 185. Both athletes want to get back into the title picture, so the fight should be exciting. Now let's look at UFC fight updates. Before the UFC 302 event this weekend in Newark, let's look at the latest news about the fights. First, on July 13th, the UFC will hold a featherweight fight between Christian Rodriguez and Julian Erosa. In this fight, Rodriguez will try to add to his 4-fight win streak inside the octagon. In March, he beat Isaac Dolgarian by split decision to keep his winning run going. On the other hand, Erosa will be trying to get back on track after his win over Ricardo Ramos in March ended a 2-fight losing streak. The next month, when Carl Williams and Yonata Jennings fight at UFC Vegas 95 on August 10th, it will be a heavyweight match. Williams will be looking to continue a win streak that goes all the way back to the PFL in 2022. Williams won Dana White's Contender Series the year before his UFC start in 2023. Since then, he has won 3 straight fights, including one over Justin Tafa in March. On the other hand, Janis will be looking to build on his early UFC win over Austin Lane in April, which came after Dana White's Contender Series win in 2023. Next, let's look at Cyril Gane tells fans about his next UFC fight. Some people say that Cyril Gane turned down a fight to make a movie, but he recently told some fans that he will be back in the cage as soon as possible. In a video that has been going around social media, the former title contender can be seen smiling with fans and then giving one of them the phone back. Gane tells the fans that he will be back in action in September as the two teams go their different ways. He then answers a follow-up question from the fans who want to know if he'll be fighting at UFC Paris. There is still no word on who Gane might fight on the UFC Paris show. Fans, on the other hand, seem to want him to fight the winner of the fight between Pavlovich and Volkov later this month. Aspinall isn't ready to give up on Gane, though, because he says Gane turned down a fight deal. Last week, the temporary champion made fun of the French star in a promo for an interview with UFC on TNT. Because of what's going on and the amount of important fights coming up, it's an exciting time for heavyweights. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for latest fight updates.